Oh, hey.
It's funny, you turn the timer on, and I was just too busy looking at it, and I was just kind of like, just total dead air of like, oh, now it's time to start.
I have to talk now.
Oh, shit, hang on. We have to restart.
Why?
The light's not in the right position.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Second time's a charm here at the Chill
again.
Spot Podcast. You won't see it in the video, but we got about a minute in and realized that the lights were wrong.
Whoops.
Being your own production guy is hard.
It's not that bad. It's just like...
I mean, it's not as hard as like real production people.
You just have a lot on your mind. Everything is on your mind.
Mm-hmm.
All aspects of everything you have to do.
I would much prefer it if I could like set up the lights and then not have to be interesting for an hour.
Like one or the other. Either be interesting for an hour or set up the lights.
There's a reason why in a lot of production companies that you have like talent and then crew.
Yeah.
You know? Because you don't want to double dip.
It's funny because like when we were in school, there was a lot of disparity between, or at least like faux disparity between like people who did tech and people who like were on stage, like acted.
There was a shifting narrative, but it was never like, fuck you guys. Like everyone was friends.
One of the things at our school, because like our school was like multidisciplinary, we like you could specialize in one thing. Like Cam and I tended to lean more towards like taking acting courses and trying out for shows.
I always say that we had an acting focus. Like that's the word I use. Focus.
Whereas like if you wanted to, you could have also looked into lighting or focused on sound or focused on like projection and audio visual and stuff like that. So
good program.
But you still had to like touch on all of that stuff. Like you couldn't just do acting. You still had to like,
because it's not a
take a
conservatory,
tech course and like learn how lighting is done at least. And a lot of the instructors there wanted to focus on appreciation for all aspects that goes into making a play happen.
Very valuable.
They were very much not interested in churning out another set of like entitled actors who didn't know how to work with crew.
It's bullshit.
And have no respect for
actors who do that, I mean.
Yeah, and have no respect for stuff like that. So there was a lot of like the way that they sort of got that message across is like, if you're an actor, you're just an actor. I know you think that actors are the best and know how to do everything and make everything look all shiny and gorgeous, but that's actually a very dedicated, very tired group of people behind the scenes. And you as an actor actually just do one thing.
It's true.
It's just one thing.
Yeah, we got beaten into the ground frequently.
We kind of got like you said, beaten into the ground.
But it's a humbling beating, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because
they're a big ass slice of humble pie.
When I hear people say shit like that, say shit like actors only do one thing, it's like, well, you're not fucking wrong. Like,
it kind of waters down all the work that goes into, stepping into a character and
believe
doing
me,
it well.
I'm not trying to say that it isn't that. I'm a big purveyor of that, like, your point might be your point, but how you say it will dictate how I take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where they have a point where it's like, the reason why tech people often react that way is because their efforts and work has been diminished by many shitty actors.
Yeah.
Right? So they're kind of flipping the script.
And they're like, well, anybody can diminish. You just act.
Exactly. Yeah.
All you do is show up and act.
And anyone who's done acting, at least at a post-secondary or professional level, will understand that just acting is bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, it is and it isn't bullshit.
Yeah, but it's true. Like the work of crew on a show gets kind of undercut. It's very thankless.
I mean, it is thankless, and I really want to say that, like, if go on.
No, well, just because your name is in the program doesn't mean that people have any respect for what you do. It's like, you get credited, but like, no one knows what the fuck a gaffer is.
Exactly.
So there's no respect for it.
If you're a young theater student in theater right now and you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to encourage you to start talking and thanking your tech people.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in like a stupid way. Like, just do it. Just say that they're help. The reason why when you're on stage and you look so beautiful and lit well and all the sound effects sound good and it combines into this like amazing experience that is the show you're putting on, that is like, you're part of that 100%, but there's a bunch of other people who have worked just as hard and expended just as much creative energy as you have to make it work from a technical level. Because wow, oh my, is something that I didn't understand in maybe high school, was that just how much more of the technical aspect goes into shows, and then even like the act. Like acting is one thing. Like you need good actors to make the show look good, right? That's part of the
absolutely
part of the package. But the other 90% is all like this light shined here to get this effect, and this sound played at this time, and that requires a team of like 60 fucking people.
You know, everything only looks as good as it does because like wardrobe did their research into like exactly what is appropriate for you to wear at the time, and like that's why you look so good. And makeup, you know, like, you know, if there's any like special effects that needed doing, or, you know, like
tattoos even.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was in a show in school where I needed to look like I was like, because it was Unity 1918. It was during a pandemic, so I needed to look like I like hadn't eaten, and I needed to look more like
sunken cheeks,
sallow in my face. So like I had to learn how to contour.
Yep.
And the makeup person, who's actually still our pal today, Megan. She like taught me how to contour my face because I don't wear makeup.
No,
I didn't know anything. So in order for me to, you know, accurately portray my character as I thought she needed to, I needed her to get on board with my vision as well.
Yeah.
And she did, and it was awesome. So like it was that relationship that helped my performance be even better. Yeah. So thank a crewmate and be friends with them.
And be nice to your stage managers, goddammit. And I mean that. I've been a part of so many productions where I'm the only person who goes, thank you, after your stage manager tells you something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's shocking. You're all way older than me. Like, you shouldn't be like this.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, and how hard is it to go, thank you for telling me?
Someone's talking to you. Like, even, like theater etiquette aside, like, there's a lot of etiquette in the theater world about like things that you do and things that you don't do, and if you don't do them, then people kind of think that you're shit right away, and they're very quick to judge your entire being based on these like etiquettes.
And often right.
They're right, but like they're also not very well communicated.
That's
so
true.
You often have to like you spend a show stepping on people's toes, not knowing that you're doing it, because no one will tell you the etiquette. You kind of have to like parse why people are treating you like shit.
Gotta figure it out.
And then take that to the next production, and then slowly but surely, like show after show, like not be shit. But there's just a lot of like etiquette involved in the theater world. But it is for good reason, because you need to treat people like people.
Well, yeah, dude.
Like etiquette aside, somebody's talking to you. It's just polite in the world when someone talks to you to acknowledge them in some way.
Yeah.
So like and a stage manager does nothing except hold your hand as an actor through the entire experience. You maybe want to say thank you. Thank you. Now you know, like while I'm warming up, getting my makeup on, getting my costume on, like
doing the things you gotta do.
You know, like just being nervous and not paying attention. There is this anchor that is the stage manager keeping me on track and making sure I get to where I need to be on time. Do you want to maybe say thank you for all of that work?
It's really not that hard.
It's really not that hard.
And I mean, it's like, it's so different than being nice to someone who brings you a coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know, just say thank you.
Just say thank you.
Like, they're helping you out.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
It's really like just basic cordialness, you know, like you don't have to be a social butterfly. You don't have to be this like extroverted person that people think theater kids always are. You can just be a nice person.
Yeah,
just
true.
be nice. Just be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Like, I think that like, we, not to get fucking high and mighty all of a sudden, in terms of this really froofy idea, but I feel like because we live in such a capitalist society, a lot of business politics are sort of centered around the idea that you need to profit, which like makes enough sense.
You need to prove your value.
Well, no, let me finish. Like you need to make money. Yeah. You don't need to prove your value. You need to make money. Like at the end of the day, like all of these decisions we're making, as long as it's profitable, makes enough sense. Yeah. I kind of feel like more people, especially after last year, are a bit more interested in good guy business practices.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I would much rather support something if I found out that everyone who was a part of it had a positive experience and was supported well. And like, I don't give a shit if this show took 4 years to come out. Like, I really don't. Like, if you need more money to keep everyone paid, then ask for it. Like, I'm happier to pay for something that I know was created in a positive environment. You know?
Yeah. I mean, like, we can get into that. We can talk about capitalism another day.
Yeah.
Because I do want to get to the main sort of meat of this episode. But that's difficult. Because the last year, I think we all hoped that we would turn to more, you know, ethical practices,
very idealistic,
and more like humanistic.
Yeah, very optimistic.
I also think that with all of the restrictions that we were placed under last year, a lot of people just want their things.
It's true.
And will eschew ethics for convenience.
Well, that's been happening forever.
So
way,
I mean,
way
like
more
we
than
see
last
it,
year.
like we all learned that Amazon treats their employees like shit,
yeah,
and yet
Here we are ordering things on Amazon.
I mean, I think I've ordered like one thing, and I really looked to see if I could like get it for a good price anywhere else, like anywhere. And I think I actually wound up buying it from a seller on Amazon. Like someone was just like putting it up for sale on Amazon. They operate their store through it.
Yeah.
But like, how many people do I know who have been like, Amazon still? Like like they know about, you know, the bad business practices of Amazon and how ridiculously wealthy Jeff Bezos is.
Yeah.
And how it's not fair, and the buffoonery of the wealth that this one person has been able to accumulate.
It is an insane amount of wealth.
And then still just go like, but it's convenient for my life. And just kind of like take it still.
Amazon's a double-edged sword, right? And I've said this before, but like, and we can move on after this, but the reason why Amazon is so popular is, like you said, it's convenient, but it's also often the most cost-effective.
Yeah.
Like, I know that, like, blows, but there's a lot of people who, like, don't have the income to go to smaller places, who, like, don't have the spare cash to buy legitimately from sellers because it's not cheaper. And you know what? Like, those smaller places deserve to have higher prices because often it's a more wholesome, more directly worked on product.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like some people, their hands are tied, right? And you have to go to Amazon.
Or region. Region has a lot to do with it.
Region has a lot to do with it as well.
If you live in an area that doesn't have a lot of small businesses that support what you buy. Like, okay, so like, there was a huge push to like buy from small businesses last year and support them because they were the ones struggling the most under COVID. But I think about like what I buy. I don't buy a lot. I don't have a job. I buy what I need, and that is it.
Yeah.
I buy like the toiletries, and I don't even buy my own food. Like our parents buy our food for us.
Thank God.
Like, I buy my own toiletries pretty much. Hair products, cleaning products, like hygiene products.
Yeah. Yep.
All that stuff. What small business should I buy from when I need to buy pads? What small business should I buy from? For the specific hair products that I need and have been using for 10 years, that are Garnier and ORS that I just... Does anybody have those?
There's no ma and pop like tampon shop anywhere? Making tampons out of like horsehair or something?
I mean, I would love... Ew. Oh I would love to know, but I just don't... Like, as far... Like, the essentials. I don't know any small businesses that sell the essentials at all, really. So...
Convenience stores, I guess, if you really wanted to. But even then, like, I don't know.
Like, if I buy a package of Always pads from, like, the mom and pop convenience store, from, like, Kim's Convenience.
Right.
How much of that money do they see? How much of my dollar do they see? It's all very unclear.
That's a good point. I don't know, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, I don't blame the people who work at Amazon, nor the people who buy from Amazon. But I do blame Amazon for its distribution of wealth and definitely its abuse of its workers. Because it's not a good career path. Speaking of career paths.
We want to talk about our career because we're two artists. And a lot of you who listen to us are also artists. And we wanted to talk about building a career period, because like a lot of our friends are trying to build careers at all in different fields, but specifically to the arts, because that's what we know.
That's our angle.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because I feel like actually, especially when it comes to art, like building a career in art is something that, despite there being so many different kinds of art schools, I don't feel like they necessarily touch upon. Like in like. Or then at the same time, it's also like rather nebulous, right? Like
what your career can look like.
Because it can become a million things, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think that your and mine's trajectory, right, which was like started in high school, would be like, oh, like I want to be an actor, but like you never really think about what that entails, right? Like, you know, you never really think about like all the other work you're going to need to do to make your acting as good as possible. And you never really think about how actually doing just one thing in art, especially in 2021, is a total non-option.
Yeah.
You have to do a bunch of things, and then hopefully you'll get paid really well to do one thing, and then that becomes your thing. But if you want to do just one thing, you're not going to have a fun time.
I can't think of very many actors, even like AAA actors in Hollywood right now, who just do one thing.
You're right.
Even Brad Pitt, he's a producer.
He's a great producer, actually.
He's a really good producer. If you look at Brad Pitt's producing credits on IMDb, you're like, what?
Oh my God, he made a lot of great movies.
Yeah. But yeah, like... first of all, like, I think the hope is that you love the work so much that you naturally want to have more of a hand in it than just acting. Because as we said at the beginning of this podcast, actors do one thing.
Yep.
They show up and they act.
And they act.
And then they go home.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of sitting around, and it's a lot of hurry up and wait.
Yep.
And granted, it's hard work, you know, all of the character research and, you know, like embodying like the physical traits of the character and all that stuff. And you hear about all these like sacrifices that actors have made, gaining weight, losing weight, wearing prosthetics. You know, Jamie Foxx famously like went blind for a short period of time while playing Ray Charles in the Ray movie because the prosthetics they had to wear over his eyes
fucked with him. Wow.
You know, like all those gritty sacrifices that you hear actors making and stuff. But it really is just a small fraction of, you know, making things happen. And when you're just an actor, like when you spend time on a project as just an actor, you kind of, I would hope at least that if you really care about the art, that you notice all of the sitting around that you're doing and go, well, I kind of want to see, like, I want to help this project, you know, have the best outcome as much as possible, and I'm not doing that by just being an actor. So you get into producing, or you get into directing, or you get into, like, a lot of actors on shows like sitcoms and stuff will like direct episodes here and there.
Yeah.
You know, you see them get into writing, you know, like all these other behind the camera sort of aspects of the project because you want to get more involved, or at least I hope you do.
Well, especially because listen, pro tip. There's a couple of artists who've been doing this a couple of years, trying to get our damn careers off the ground. Make your own stuff, because no one's going to make it for you. And that is kind of plays into what you just said.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's valuable to own, especially as a screen actor, it's valuable to like own a camera, maybe some lights, understand how to screenwrite, like write yourself a little monologue, record yourself, put it on the internet, you know? And I know how stupid that sounds. I know you're thinking, oh, camera, come on, give me a break. Do it. I'm not kidding.
I don't know. Like, it doesn't sound stupid at all. I think that a lot of people who are our age and trying to make a career for themselves, it's not even a learning curve. It's just something that you know you have to do.
Yeah. You
know that even if you're part of the lucky few who have gotten gigs and been in stuff, you know that there's a little voice in the back of your head that's just like not represented well enough. And you're the only person who can bring that out into the world.
Yeah. And then like what I really like about what I just said and what you just said as well is that like I want to understand, I'm kind of re-clarify what I just said here, where it's like no one is good at anything off the bat.
Yeah.
And maybe you're a really great actor, but you have no idea how to work a camera. You have no idea how to work lights. You have no idea how to screenwrite. That's cool. Just do it anyway.
Yeah.
I spent so much goddamn time in my life mulling about doing something when I get good. And that is such bullshit.
It's such a waste of time.
Such a massive, colossal waste of time.
Yeah.
So just do it.
Yeah.
Do it, put it out, have it be horrible. And have your friends go, no, but it's really good. And they're totally lying. But the next thing you make will be better.
Yeah. The only way you can get good at something is to just do it, because you won't know how exactly you want something to look or turn out until you do it wrong and see how bad it is.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, so, you know, I wanted to shoot this outside, but then like it got cloudy and the lighting changed completely and just shat all over everything. So now I know that if I want to do something on a sunny day, I have to make sure that, you know, like it's on a clear day, and I have to take advantage of the time that I have while the sun is up and the sky is clear, and get as much done as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I know that now.
I'm a big purveyor of, even if something went perfect, there's always lessons to be learned.
Yeah.
I know it drives you crazy because I'll always find like, well, here's one thing I could have done differently.
Yeah.
Right? But it's that kind of thinking that will, in my opinion, push my work to be as best as possible. And it doesn't work for everyone, but that's what works for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally. Did you always want to be an artist as a kid?
When I was younger, well, see, here it's a funny thing, right? When I was younger, I wanted to just be like any other kid my age was to be. I wanted to be a fireman. Actually, I specifically wanted to be a garbage man because I like the way they hung off the back of the trucks. But they don't even do that anymore.
I know, they have arms that do them for them now.
I mean, it's better because less people. I mean, you won't be fucking paralyzed by the time you're 60 or something.
Yeah,
but like, I wanted to be in sanitation because I thought it was a great job. I thought it was a very noble thing to do. Like you're driving around and you're picking up our garbage and you're bringing them to where the garbage got to go, right? Like general service workers. Like when I was really younger, I muddled over all that stuff. I mean, a garbage man, being a fireman, being a police officer, like all sorts. I mean, that's all just like kid shit, right? And then I gave literally no thought to my career from like grade 4 to about grade 11 or grade 10 rather.
Wow.
I had like no dreams or aspirations when I was younger in that respect. I was just very in the moment. I was very present as a kid.
Yeah, very grounded in reality.
So eventually when I got into the school play and I was told that I was half decent at acting, well, I thought, well, maybe this is something that I could do. And I kind of just latched onto that. And it's funny, right? Because like this last couple years have been very, not just 2020, like from like 2017 onward, it's been very eye-opening for me because like you really have to like grapple with that. Like I actually really thought about how like I fell into acting and then decided I wanted to do it without like giving it much real thought. And now here I am in my 20s, like saying I want to be an actor and like I should really probably make sure this is what I want to do. And like ultimately what I want to do is be a creative, right? Which is like someone who makes art, right? Whether it's from a producing standpoint, a writing standpoint, an illustrating standpoint, like I don't really care which one of those three things it is, as long as I'm creating something.
Right.
That's sort of where I've landed.
Right.
Right. And I want to use my skills to make stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely like, it's not that I didn't want to be an actor when I was younger. It's I didn't know what I wanted to be when I was younger. Right. I had no, like, I literally gave it no thought. I can't stress enough. It's really weird.
I'm just thinking about that because like, did it ever worry you or did anybody ever like come to you with worries that as you went through things, like you didn't seem to kind of like have any thoughts about what you maybe wanted to do once you got out of school? Like, did no one ever approach you and be like, hey, you don't really seem to care about a lot. Like, you maybe want to think about what you want to do? Or is that just my upbringing? Showing, like, projecting that onto you?
A little bit, because no one has ever said that to me. Okay. Well, because you know what happened by the time, because, like, I feel like when you're in, like, the 4th grade, and you're like, oh, you're a fireman, everyone's like, oh, well, that's cute. Like, shut up. You're not gonna be a fucking fireman.
I remember going to family gatherings when I was in middle school, and having people ask me what I was thinking about going to university for.
In middle school?
Like middle school, early high school, yeah, like grade 9, grade 10.
That seems remarkably early to me. But I guess like there's really like, there's no such thing as being too early about it, I guess. Because it'll change over time. Yeah. But then, again, I can't stress enough, like I was in football and I was doing well in football. And then I thought at one point, like my coaches and stuff told me that like, hey, if you keep at this, you could probably get some scholarships and like move on in the career in athleticism and like, you know, or at the very least, like use your athleticism to jumpstart into something more regular life.
Pay your way through college. And
then,
like,
I don't know, become a businessman or something, or work at a bank, like all perfectly normal things to do.
Yeah.
But then I fell into acting and theater, and then again, like my mom and my dad were like, Cam, you're good at this, so like you should consider doing it. And then I was like, well, okay. And then like many years later, I sort of reconciled with the fact where it's like, yeah, like I don't feel like I'm bad at this, but do I really like there's a lot more to this to make this work.
Yeah.
And I have to be ready to be committed to do that if I want to make this work. And I am. And I've made that decision to be committed.
I think one of the best things that I could have ever realized in choosing to forge ahead in my career in the arts is that everything takes work.
And like no one's going to do that work for you.
Starting a career period takes a lot of work.
You want to be a manager at McDonald's? It's take considerable amount of work.
Oh my God.
And not even a little bit amount of work.
You have to be somebody's bitch. You have to be like the district manager's bitch for years before you can get to manage. And then like someone has to just like conveniently move out of the way. Like somebody's got to get pregnant, somebody's got to quit, somebody's got to leave, get fired, something like that.
Yeah.
In order to make way for you to get there. Like if you want to have a career, and that's, I feel like kicking McDonald's because they always have these advertisements that are like, you can really build a career here. You can really like, some people like buy homes and like have families with their career at McDonald's. And it's like, yes, but they work like 60-hour weeks.
No,
they like
you work like a
slum
dog.
it out.
Yeah.
You work like a dog.
But you know what?
And like fair, if that's what you want to do, then like I love it. Do it. I had McDonald's yesterday. Someone's got to do it because I want McDonald's from time to time. But don't think
That's easy.
That you're just going to go to McDonald's and flip burgers and buy a house because of it.
I mean,
it's not going to happen.
You do get, I mean, McDonald's managers' wages, like that's a full job.
Yes.
Like, you get a considerable pay and benefits and like everything.
Yeah, but you have to be there.
You have to work.
You have to put in the work.
But that actually, like, and we'll get back to what we were just talking about, but like that is a good point, Sam, because what you want out of a career, like what you want, like places to live and like not have to worry about your bills that you pay.
Yeah.
Like that is not an easy thing to do.
No.
And frankly, it shouldn't be easy. No. It shouldn't be effortless.
Well, I mean,
it should be accessible.
I was going to say, to take it back to capitalism, I think that everybody deserves homes and food to eat and not have to worry about whether they're going to have a roof over their head from month to month. But I
think that you should work, and maybe this is my old-fashionedness, but like I think that, honest to God, most people should be working anywhere from 35 to 40 hours a week, and if you do that, you should be able to support. You should be able to afford and support your life.
Yeah.
Cameron, with your fucking stupid brain and mouth.
See, I think that 40 hours is a lot. Like, I gotta read more into this, but I think that 40 hours is a lot of time out of your life away from other things that you want to do, being able to pursue interests, spend time with the people that you love, like outside of work. And I'm talking about like literal hours. But I do support your thought that like the work that we do, like whatever, be it, you know, working at McDonald's, being a doctor, being an actor, firefighter, teacher, anything, healthcare worker, anything. The work that humans do as a society helps make our world go around and helps us all live and be comfortable and safe and happy and healthy. So like, you know, at some point you gotta put the work in. You know, 2020 was a time when we were like, you know, my work and play balance is not okay, and it hasn't been okay for a very long time, and I need more, and I am demanding more, and that's totally acceptable. But at some point you do, like, you know, even if we go down to a 20-hour work week, okay, those 20 hours, you got to work.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You got to work.
Basically, our point is that, like, even the easiest job you ever think about, like, I don't know, a lot of people bag on, like, Instagram influencers, right? Yeah. And I'm by no means an influencer, but, like, I highly doubt that job is as easy as it looks. The easiest job in the world is definitely 100 times more complicated than you think it is.
Yeah.
And requires a lot of genuine hard work.
Yeah.
Right? And that is just something that I feel like we should be telling people from the moment they're born. Because I feel like there's a lot of people, and, like, you know, like, and privilege has a lot to do with this, and like social class, and, you know, growing up and how you're raised all has everything to do with this. But like you reach a point in your life where like you may have not ever been told that like you're gonna have to actually work and do this.
Yeah.
And I know how ridiculous that sounds to people who know this, like people who like are fully aware of this, but I genuinely feel like this is something that needs to be communicated. It is not something that can be implied.
Yeah, no, this is something that I have started really needling people about when I am, you know, lucky enough to get to talk to them about, you know, how to start a career and all of that stuff. They'll be like, yeah, so I started out working for this person, and I did that for a couple of years, and it was really hard, and then I got this break, and I'm like, no, the part where you said it was hard, what exactly did that entail?
What did you do?
What was your life like?
Tell me.
Were you like me? Did you not have a house of your own and have to, like, you know, balance like living with your mom and contributing and helping her out? What was that like? When you say that it was hard for X amount of years or X amount of time, what did that look like? What was the hard? Tell me about the hard. That's what I want to know.
Give me the hard. I want your hard.
Because right now, you know, I feel like I'm doing the right thing. I feel like I'm going down the right path, and it only just because things feel so different, you know? Sure. Like I look at my life and the way that I ran it this time last year, because this time last year I was working in a grocery store and saying that I wanted to write a play and had, you know, ideas written out somewhere, but they weren't, you know, like anything. And I was just like going to work at a grocery store almost every day and like hating my life. And then I decided to do something different. And ever since then, I haven't known what the fuck I'm doing or if I'm leading my life straight into hell. I have no idea. So like when you, a successful person, tell me that you did something for, you know, 6 years, 10 years, 30 years, whatever, and it was hard, Tell me what your day-to-day life was like.
Yeah.
Because these, like, you know, you watch like biographies of famous people, or you talk to people that you consider mentors or role models, people that you look up to, and they say, well, you got to go through difficult times. Okay, what do difficult times specifically look like? I have no problem going through difficult times if it means that I get to where you are at the end, where you can buy, I don't know, brand name fruit gushers and you don't bat an eyelash. But tell me what that's like, so when I'm going through the shit, I know that I'm going through the shit right now.
Right.
Because I don't want to just, going through the shit feels a lot like leading my life directly into a nosedive that only ends in failure, you know?
Right.
And I just want to know that while things are tough right now, it will eventually come back up with the current mindset that I have going for me.
I think what it has to do with that, like my answer to that question would be like, just keep yourself malleable. Be ready to change.
Yeah.
Because like if you go into this like, I'm going to be an actor, that's the only thing I'm going to be. Like likely it's not going to work out. But if you go into art and make yourself multifaceted and I call it my creative package.
Yeah.
If you spruce up your creative package and can do lots of things, you might find that one of the 5 things you're really good at, one of them takes off as a career.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, you got to leave the other 4 behind, or you don't focus on them as much. But like, what more? Like beggars can't be fucking choosers. Do you want to be an artist or not?
I just want to live. Don't really care about those 5 other things.
Exactly. But actually, I remember.
Just want to maybe buy a house and someday marry this guy and start my life. Maybe go on a vacation.
Once or twice a year.
Once or twice a year.
Once is fine. Maybe once or none. I don't care.
Have a couple kids. Buy a couple things.
Buy myself a PlayStation 5. Fucking find one. But I remembered something. We were talking about like whether or not what we wanted to do as a kid. First of all, I want to hear what you did. But something I remember kind of tying to what we just talked about was that like my plan B was always going to be a teacher. Where I was like, oh, well, if this doesn't work out, I'll just like teach drama or something. Which is such an ignorant thing to say. Because I have friends who are teachers. And I'm totally of the opinion now that like you really should be... You should be
your plan A.
You should really want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like you shouldn't fall into it. Like you should like that should like send to say that you're plan A.
Yeah.
You know. I'm actually this is kind of maybe sound a little irresponsible off the bat, but I'm a big purveyor of like you shouldn't have a plan B. Have a plan A and make it work. And then like I just said, be malleable. Change your plan A. It can it doesn't have to like change it to something radically different, but like as long as you have a general idea of what you want to do, keep your plan A, because if you have a plan B, you're going to do it. That's just the way it is. If I said to myself, like, I'm 100% okay with being a teacher, like that is something that I want to do as well as be an actor, you're going to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And like, there's nothing wrong with that. Being a teacher is super noble.
I love teachers. I love teachers so much. I love good teachers. But yeah.
It's a huge responsibility, though.
Our friends who are teachers are some of the most beautiful people,
of course,
that I know in my life, and I'm privileged to know.
And I know
I'm so rude to Evan in the stream, but our friend Evan is a teacher, and he's honestly like just one of those people where I'm like, you should always be a teacher.
And I thank God, because they do a lot of work outside of paid hours to like make their students' experiences the best they can be.
Yeah.
And if you're not ready for that, then you shouldn't be a teacher, because that's how you get bitter teachers.
Yeah.
you know,
can't just show up with a lesson plan in quotations and like execute it and then be like, yeah, I'm a teacher.
No.
It's like, fine, you're a teacher, but like, at what cost?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. But what did you want to be when you grew up?
It's funny. I always wanted to be an artist. At first, it was visual artist. Like I have an early memory of sitting in my old house when I was young and finger painting with like a finger paint set, and I was like, you know, like squelching the paint between my hands and like moving it around the page and stuff, and just thinking like, I could do this.
Yeah.
I could do this forever.
If I got money to do this, could you imagine?
I feel like maybe it'd be cool to be an artist. At the time, artist to me meant visual, like painter. Yeah. Like a painter.
You want to be like a Renaissance painter.
Yeah. But I was like, I could do this. And then as I got older and I started becoming a little bit more practical, I thought dentist for some reason.
Weird.
Yeah. Well, just because like I knew that they made a lot of money.
That's always what it is. You know what?
That's what it was.
It's
I
just
was
the
like,
money.
What makes the most amount of money?
Yeah.
Dentists. dentistry. And
Getting into dental school is harder than getting into medical school.
Is it?
And I mean,
I don't
that's
know
up for
anything
debate.
about it. I never got to a point where I actually did research as to like how to become a dentist. I wanted to be a dentist when I was like 13.
A friend of mine is on their way to be a dentist, and you need to getting into dental school is typically seen as actually more competitive because they take less students.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
and this is a secondhand thing that I'm hearing, right? Like, do I look like I can be a doctor?
Yes, you do. Doctors can look like anybody. Don't let the way that you look bash your dreams.
I mean, I'm wearing like stretchy pants.
So what the fuck do you think scrubs are?
True that. If I walked into it, could you imagine if we had a kid and I'm separate from this scenario and you bring your kid to a kid doctor.
Yeah.
And
you mean like a pediatrician?
yeah, like a pediatrician.
Okay.
And I walk in.
I thought you meant like a child doctor.
Like a baby doctor?
Like a baby doctor.
Yeah. Oh, your heart beats real bad. You need
you gotta watch your cholesterol.
You gotta lose the baby fat.
Baby doctor.
It's baby doctor. The greatest bit ever bit. But
you
I
took
walked
your kid to a pediatrician.
I walked in and like not wearing like the doctor's coat, but I was wearing like I forgot what it's called, like the heartbeat monitor.
Yeah.
And just this. You know?
Oh, you mean like a stethoscope?
A stethoscope.
And just like a ringer tee and like Lululemon yoga pants.
Hey, so what's wrong with your kid? Yep. That's out.
Yeah, you're allergic to nuts, all right.
That's a kid, all right. And then some guy comes in. Hey, what are you doing? Get the fuck out! Jesus. That guy was not a doctor. But he wanted to be a doctor.
A dentist.
And to be a dentist. Dentists are doctors.
Just because they made, yeah, that's true. Just because they made a lot of money, and I thought like I could look at teeth. Bodies are gross, but I can look at your teeth.
See, that's fascinating to me. I would never want to look at someone's.
But then like dental surgery is disgusting. So like no, thank you.
Actually, no, that actually sparked a memory in me. There was one point in my life very short period in my life where I debated being a pharmacist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Simply because it made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean, like,
it's just a career that has lots of money.
The first time anybody really asks you as a kid what you want to be when you grow up, like, I don't know about anybody else, but me specifically, I just wanted to give a respectable answer.
Yeah.
And, I knew that the obvious ones were doctor, police officer, fireman,
civil servant,
or fire person. These things made money and they were jobs that were respected. But I wanted to appear as if I had given it some thought. So I was like, doctors are well respected, but I don't want to straight up say doctor, so dentist. Dentist.
Because that proves that you did like the second round of thought. You know? You
Yeah.
didn't just do the surface level. You're
and
like,
you know what? I was a dentist's dream. I've always been so good about brushing my teeth and taking care of them.
Impeccable dental health. Yeah.
I've always done really well in my dental checkups and therefore got along with my dentist and dental hygienists really well. Like we always liked each other. So I actually enjoyed going to the dentist, and I just thought of what a cool place to be.
You enjoy going to the dentist because you would get praised on your teeth?
Yes. Yes.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
That's really funny.
I liked anywhere where I could do well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. What else did you want to be?
I considered psychologist.
Oh, because you did go to school for social work for a stint.
I did go to school for social work for a year. I mean, social work and psychologist is completely different. I was encouraged I got accepted into a BA program at Ryerson for psychology and social work. And I was choosing between the two, and a teacher of mine told me that I should go for social work because it was more streamlined into a career.
Yeah.
Which is not true.
That is a fucking lie.
They're both nebulous. They're both very nebulous.
Sure, okay.
But and social work pays significantly worse. But yeah, psychologist, just because I'm interested in psychology, always have been. I think that the mind is a very intricate thing, and I'm very fascinated by psychological things. I don't want to say problems because that's not productive, but I was always interested in, like schizophrenia, anxiety, depression, ADHD, ADD.
Yeah, stuff that goes on in the brain.
Stuff that goes on in your brain, I'm just like casually interested in it. So I thought about psychology for a little bit and thought that I could maybe like open up my own practice.
Oh, interesting.
Be a psychologist.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, that did not work out.
No.
I don't. I mean, like, that's kind of what, like, made me realize that I wanted to be an actor too. It's a very small factor, but a factor nonetheless, that I was interested in these things, but I wasn't interested in them from a psychologist's perspective.
Sure.
I didn't want to do research on them. I didn't want to read academic papers. I never wanted to have the pressure on me to like give somebody perspective on their life and then they go out and they apply that.
Right.
That's too much pressure for me. I just want to know about
Yeah,
it.
you have to be really sure you know what you're talking about
Yeah.
to give that kind of advice to people.
Exactly. And as an actor, you can like learn about these things and get really steeped in them for
Yeah.
a role. And
Sure.
like, and you know, like sometimes your personification of a specific psychological situation can help others understand them better if it's done right.
If it's done right.
I know that the autistic community at the time, I don't know if this has changed, but at the time, the autistic community said that Dustin Hoffman's portrayal of an autistic man in Rain Man was the most accurate mainstream representation of autism at the time.
Yeah, that's a common, like, people celebrate that.
And you know, like
portrayal.
if no one is gonna read, you know, not everybody can read academic papers, unfortunately. But if you're gonna go and watch a movie, like it would be cool if you could represent him well, and that's kind of why I care about, you know, representing people who are otherwise overlooked in society in my art, because I want to do that well. So I kind of took my appreciation for psychology and like stuck it there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, right?
That's why social justice is such a passion of mine in my work.
Yeah.
And representation and stuff like that.
That's interesting because I also feel like as an actor, like you sort of like get the best of every world in a way, you know, because you can play a police officer, and then get to pretend to be a police officer, and live out your dream of being one.
Have to be a police officer,
and then you can take the belt and hat off at the end and put your regular clothes back on and be like, well, that was fun. Yeah, glad I get to not do that every day. You know, like
yeah,
I think about that all the time.
You become an encyclopedia of knowledge, and that's what I love. I mean, like at like on such a fundamental level, I just love knowing a lot about a lot. Yeah. I grew up with a dad who knew a lot about a lot. You could go to my dad and be like, "Hey, did this person ever think about this, that, and the other thing?" And like, granted, sometimes he would lie. Like sometimes he made shit up. I learned that later. But like just the idea of being able to go to a person and be like, "Are olives good for you?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, because olives have this, that, and the other thing in them, and like they're really healthy for you." I just love knowing a lot about a lot. And as an actor, like in your research, you get to learn about a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, being learned is important. Yeah. In a lot of ways. Yeah. And you don't need to be like a fucking, like you said, an encyclopedia. You just like read about the things you like. Start off with that, right? Yeah. And I really 100%. Do mean that. Like if you love Nestea, like Google what's in it. Read the Wikipedia page about Nestea. You'll be amazed the things you can find.
You'll find something. Yeah. You know, you'll be like, oh, what's this ingredient? And then like learn about where it comes from. And then you know a lot about sodium bicarbonate or something. It's called
rabbit holes. Yeah. It's what people talk about when you say like, oh, I fell down a rabbit hole.
It's a beautiful thing. You know, like we laugh about it all the time. Be like, oh, I fell down a YouTube rabbit hole the other day. Oh, I fell down a Wikipedia rabbit hole the other day. But I mean, like, get into it. Yeah. Like, by all means, let yourself fall down a rabbit hole. It's a great way to get off Twitter. Let me tell you that much. If you want to use a computer, but you got to get off Twitter, fall down a rabbit hole. Yeah. Learn something.
So, Sam, with your proposed career in mind, you've always wanted to be an artist. Like, what in your life and where point in your life did that solidify within you?
I was in a production of A Streetcar Named Desire when I was in high school. My friend started a By Youth for Youth theater company, and that was the first show that they did. It was kind of racist. My characters were called a Negro woman and a Mexican woman.
Wow. Oh, wow. That's not cool. What the fuck?
It was 2011. So.
But being a Mexican woman really made me want to be an actor.
Yeah. Like, I got into it. I got into the show specifically because I was a person of color. Like, that's literally, my friend came up to me in the hall at school one day and said,
Black girl?
Sam, I have the perfect. I'm doing a play, and I have the perfect role for you. It's literally called A Black Woman. Can you come and try out?
And she said that with her whole face.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, it was a person of color too. It was a Sikh kid. Sikh.
That's up for debate whether or not that's the pronunciation.
So, yeah, they know better now.
I like to
They
hope
grew up.
so.
They grew up and they know better. I
For
would like
10
to
years.
say. We all know better. I know that that's fucked up. They know that that's fucked up. We all learned.
Oh man.
But it was such. Oh god, I had such a small role. Oh, I was also the nurse at the end that comes and takes Blanche Devereaux away. Not Devereaux, Dubois away.
What the fuck play is this? This what made you want to be an actor?
Yeah. Wait, have you never read A Streetcar Named Desire or seen it? The play or the movie with Marlon Brando?
Well, I've seen the movie. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So Blanche gets taken away to an institution at the end, and I was the nurse that like took her away. So I was a black woman, a Mexican woman, and a nurse at a 1940s mental institution. None of which would fly today.
Yeah.
I got it all out in that one play.
Man. What range?
I know.
What incredible range.
But I was standing in the wings, like getting ready to do my Mexican woman role because it was right in the middle between black woman and nurse. And I was like I had one line and I was flores para los muertes, flowers for the dead. And, I was like, okay, you have one line. You have one line to get this entire woman's story out into the audience and make an impact. You don't have a lot of time on stage. All of your costumes are ugly as sin. That little itty bitty white girl gets to kiss the boy that you like but at the play. But I've never felt more alive.
That's always what it comes back to with you. You know that?
Fuck you. But like, this is like, whether I get paid for this or whether I just do this at the community theater level, I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life.
That's
I
what
have to be in plays for the rest of my life. This is so fun.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so like grade 10, grade 11.
Wow, really
I was
early.
Like, I didn't realize that an actor was something that you could be as a career, like something that you could choose and work hard at. But I knew that I wanted to act in some capacity for the rest of my life.
Whatever that ended up being.
Whatever that ended up being, yeah.
Interesting.
What about you?
I had that revelation far later in life.
Yeah.
Like a couple of years ago, actually. Yeah. Because, when I was working at EB Games, and I say this because I had a positive experience, so I have no problem name dropping the store that I used to work at.
Yeah.
When I was working at EB Games, I was making good money for my work and age. Like I had couple of raises. I've been working there for almost 6 years. And like, I thought to myself, like, this acting stuff is really petering out. And like, at that time, I hadn't really felt good about acting in a long time. Right. And I was like, what is so bad about getting into management in this retail job that I like, that I'll get paid well for, and then I can actually like move out of my parents' house and maybe go on a vacation once a year. Like, that really doesn't sound awful. And it still doesn't sound awful, as a matter of fact. But then I had this huge epiphany where it's like, I love theater. Theater is my darling, right? I was growing up in theater. I was trained in theater. I will always love and do theater for as long as I want and, continue to want to do so. But a couple of years ago, I had this epiphany where I was like, what I really genuinely love is cartoons. And you were there for this epiphany. You were on the other end of the text conversation. And I realized from a young age, someone in my life, a very non-specific person that I feel like it was like a doctor or something, I don't know, person in my life when I was very young. Because I said, when I was young, I used to say like, oh, I wanted to be a cartoonist, right? But then like, I remember I had this conversation, this interaction with someone being like, oh, well, like, what are you doing? Are you like going to like an art school? Do you draw? Do you like do anything? What do you do? Well, if you're not doing any of that, you're never going to be a cartoonist. I remember someone saying that to me. Like, and again, don't remember who it was specifically.
Fuck them though.
But someone said that to me when I was very young.
Yeah.
And I had this huge epiphany like 2 years ago where I was like, what the fuck? That is actually, to this day, the only thing that I want to do is to draw and make cartoons. And that has become my career shift. And like my sort of like harebrained scheme is to like use voice acting as a way to get my foot in the door in the industry and then learn more about from others. But ever since I started doing that and really started taking my art more seriously and trying to improve, and like all of my writing has become like, before it was kind of like trying out different styles. Like, do I want to write in prose? Do I want to write a book? Like, it has all shifted to writing for animation. And all of my career focus right now, even in this chill spot stuff in a weird way, is all about writing for animation and getting better at writing for things in short or long form, you know, anything like that. So I had that epiphany. I started practicing, and then like I started to feel like how I felt when I would do well in a theater production, which is, it's a feeling I hadn't felt in a long time. And that is when I knew that, like, even though I'm real late and a lot of people a lot younger than me are in better positions because they started practicing what I'm doing at 17 as opposed to 26. But it's never too late to start. And that is what solidified me. And for the first time in a long time, I'm really genuinely excited about the work I'm doing.
I mean, like, that's all that matters. It sucks, right? That youth thing kind of never stops hurting. That there are people who are younger than you who had the realization that you had at like 26. They had it at like 19.
Or even like 15.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know, like... I would never blame my parents for anything because my parents are the best. Like, they're super supportive.
And the really, like, parents fuck up.
All the time. Constantly, as a matter of fact.
It's inevitable. They fuck up something.
But something I kind of side-eye my parents for is that, like, my parents were very much like... I'm a younger child, for those who don't know. I have an older brother. And I feel like as the younger child, the older sibling is usually like the fucking dry run kid, you know, who like they kind of like figure out how to be parents with the dry run kid, and then the second kid is supposed to be the smoother run, right? So I was a pretty like sedentary kid my whole life, you know, like I didn't really like moving around too much, and I'd express interest in video games and cartoons and movies and stuff, and I like didn't want to do athleticism at all, but I was kind of like forced into it because my parents were always like, well, Duncan, my older brother, excelled at this. So like this is how to be a kid. Like do this, be a kid. And I don't blame my parents for that.
The dry run kid was into sports, so they figured they could really get it with the younger one.
And I was a big kid, and like it's kind of just funny because I feel like every time I got into sports, I always said I hate it and didn't want to do it, and it's kind of stupid to make someone keep doing the thing that they hate. You know, you think like, oh, maybe he wants to do something else, whatever. But something like the biggest thing I kind of side eye them for is that like I used to doodle in my notebooks constantly. Like, and I do mean constantly. Like I'm sure like you can go upstairs and go through my mom keeps all my old notebooks because she's like that. If you open up any page, you'll see like the margins completely filled with doodles, and
why didn't you call
one and one together? Hello?
No, I mean, like, I always wanted to spend my time watching movies and television. And it's just wild that you think that you need to take someone away from that and make them play soccer. I don't know. You know,
I don't know how else to put it.
I side-eye my parents in very much the same way. I think they were mostly just thinking of it from a health perspective.
It's inexperience, and also like...
No, they were looking at it from a health perspective. They were like, you're gonna die.
Right.
You're gonna be obese and die. Like, childhood obesity was like such a thing.
It was a huge problem.
When we were kids.
Still is a problem.
Like, people were so afraid of it because video games were so prominent, and they were like making kids like want to like sit at home,
it was new.
It was newer. Like, home video game systems really like amped up when we were kids with like the N64 and the GameCube, and kids wanted to like stay inside all the time. And like, you know, you got like the introduction of like satellite TV where you have like over 100 channels, and people were really concerned that kids were taking all of this new technology and computers and home computers too and the internet, and people were concerned that kids were going to take this new technology and just sit and become fat. That was the big fear, that we were all going to get fat.
What a crime.
And die early because of childhood obesity. So I feel like my parents and your parents probably had the same thought where they were like, we got to get you out. We got to get you active. We got to get you doing stuff. You got to play sports. And it's like, hey, something that I've learned as an adult is that I actually like going outside.
Me too.
I actually like doing outdoorsy things. I like hikes. I like going out on boats. I like I picked up roller skating. You know, I like that kind of physical activity. I just don't like soccer, hockey, baseball, football, like basketball.
Maybe we could have gone on more walks, Mom. That's a joke. I love my
just
mom.
Like stop trying to make me do like think outside the box a little bit. But yeah, also like when it comes to extracurricular activities, they wanted us to be active because it's like, well, you sit in school all day, so you got to get out and be active and be a kid. Don't watch this TV crap that'll melt your brain. But it's actually like I'm learning.
Well, the thing is, right, and like listen. we've said this a million times, so I'm going to keep this short, but like all parenting is cyclical, right?
Yeah.
The only reason our parents were the way they are is because their parents were a certain way.
Yeah.
And then they took the good from their parents and left the bad, just like we're going to do if we ever become parents.
Yeah.
Right? I just wish that, like, you know, the sort, I kind of see it in my head as being like my mom or my dad looking at my notes and being like, oh, he doodles a lot. Anyway, off to football practice. You know, it's just kind of like,
yeah, it feels like that. You make that the story in your brain.
Where it's like, I feel like my parents, like, and again, I've said this before in a podcast where like a lot of my interests were just driven by what people told me.
Yeah.
I was very much like a follower growing up. And I was told that like getting into sports and like using my size and like getting fit and being an athlete is like what you're supposed to do when you're younger.
Yeah.
Like legitimately. Like the things I was interested in were not what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of fucked up when you say it out loud.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I don't blame my parents for that because that's probably how they were raised.
I definitely used to, but I stopped because you can't.
Blaming your parents?
Yeah, because you can't hold somebody's feet to the fire forever. You know? This is a little dark, but like I remember one time I was in an argument with my mom about something personal, obviously. And she said, she told me, she was like, how long are you going to punish me for this? Mm-hmm. How long are you going to punish me for this? And that really stuck with me. It's like, how long am I really going to punish my parents for not telling me that being an actor is something that you can pursue as a career option?
Right.
Like, how long am I going to just say, like, I'm not an actor because my parents didn't tell me that I could be? It's like, also, though, my life is my life.
You can also, like, take control and do the things you want to do.
My life is my life, and I do have great... And, you know, things happen in my life where I felt like I couldn't take control of my life, that I should do things that would make other people happy, and that's a whole thing. That's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
But, you know... realizing that I am allowed to do exactly what I want to do with my life has only ever bred good things.
Yeah.
And, you know, I am disappointed that my parents didn't encourage me to pursue acting as an actual career, like in the way that I am now.
Sure.
You know, like a lot of our parents, when they hear that you want to be an actor, they think you want to be a famous actor. They think you want to be like a Denzel Washington or like a Brad Pitt or a Leonardo DiCaprio. So
naturally.
Like, you know, these like huge AAA actors. Actors are everywhere.
Actors are needed for most things on TV.
Actors are everywhere, and they live and they make money and they're not famous and they feel fulfilled with their career and their life and they're happy. Mm-hmm. They're everywhere, working and living, and you can do it. Just like, you know, you can be a businessman and not be famous. There are famous versions of everything. There are famous teachers. There are famous dentists. There are famous businessmen. There are famous firefighters. There are famous accountants. Like, there's a famous version of every single career path. It's not quarantined to just, sorry about using the word quarantine, but it's not segregated to just actors when it comes to being famous. You know, like, you can be famous for doing anything. But you can also just like do that thing. And there's a way to do it. There's a path to every single career. Mm-hmm. And fame does not mean that you have made it or that you've been successful in it.
Yeah.
You just gotta find out what works for you. Mm. And I will always be disappointed that my parents never saw that, but I think I'm done getting pissed at them for it.
Well, you're 27.
I'm done being... It's not... No, it has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to do with age. It's just like, you can't know everything.
Of course not.
You can't know everything. I would have loved some encouragement in that direction, and that's why I'll always be disappointed. But you can't know that this is a thing your child can do.
Yeah, well, there's also like, I mean, there's a certain amount of like, your parenting your parents have to do in order to help you stay safe and like feel as though you're not wasting your time.
My parents
right?
always wanted me to be well.
Yeah.
So they were just like, we're just doing our best to make sure that you're well. Mm-hmm. You know?
Because acting, and especially being an artist, is not a lucrative career path. And like, and if you're not like, listen.
Nothing is a lucrative career path if you don't try hard enough.
Exactly. But there is a risk factor. There's a risk of failure in every career path.
Absolutely.
And once you accept that, and then work despite that, you're gonna make it work. Whether you want to or not, or whether you like end up doing exactly what you wanted to do or not, you're gonna make it work. Or at least that's my belief. That's what keeps me up in the morning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can put your all into being a firefighter and lose.
Totally.
And not have it work out. And then you're just sitting there on your ass. Like, well, I just put however many years into being a firefighter and it didn't work out because of a multitude of reasons.
I might get this wrong, but one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite mangas, it's called Hajime no Ippo. It's a boxing manga. The Coach Kamigawa, tells his boxers, I'm going to get this wrong, I think, but it's not everyone who works hard succeeds, but those who have succeeded work hard.
Yeah.
And that's something that really stuck with me.
Yeah.
I know it's like a fucking boxing manga, but like I think that's really inspirational. Yeah. It's also like, not to talk about Hajime no Ippo, but all of the characters work tremendously hard for their successes.
Yeah.
And I think that's really inspiring.
Yeah.
And I would have that like up on my wall if I could.
Yeah.
That panel, you know?
Absolutely. For sure. But yeah, no, I could talk forever. We are there.
Stop.
Shut up.
What the fuck?
God.
Beeping thing.
Okay, we get it. 10 seconds left.
Let's go a little bit over because we talked about like capitalism for like 25 minutes at the beginning.
I could talk forever about trying to start a career, and I could talk about I wanted to kind of like steer this conversation more towards starting a career in the arts specifically because that's our angle, but that could honestly be a part 2. Is just like starting a career in the arts, period. Well,
but one last thing, Sam. When motivation is low, what do you do to get up in the morning? If there's anything tried and true, or maybe you just have some feelings on that.
Motivation is low. What do I do?
I could start off if you want.
Yeah, go for it. Maybe I'll
do things you like. I know how ridiculous that sounds, but I mean, like, okay, so I want to make cartoons. I'm gonna go watch a couple episodes of my favorite animated series. I have a bunch of writing books that I have over there. Like watching, reading, writing, taking in art is just as important as creating. Because you need to be inspired to create. And that's something that a lot of people don't talk about. A lot of people think that the creation just comes from like a feeling or an idea you had. Where the fuck do you think you got that idea from? It's something you enjoy, something that like resonated with you, and then now you can turn it into something. My favorite thing to do when it comes up with new story ideas is to think of like really, really base, genuine ideas. Like the other day, we had gotten together with a friend of yours because she's leaving the province to go live and start her dream life, right? And best feel great for her. While we were there in this parking lot, we were socially distanced, everyone. No need to freak out. And this man, because we're in Kitchener, came up to a dumpster, and then dumpster died, but had a chest on him, like a little wooden chest, and then put the chest on top. And I swear to God, Sam, I like zoned out and thought about that chest for like 5 straight minutes. So I came up with this idea. I haven't written it yet. This the base idea of 2 people talking about the chest that was left behind by this person, and that's the idea. And then that inspires me to continue and
spirals from there.
You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of thing.
Like draw inspiration from everyday things.
Anything.
Well, that was really the shitty thing about the pandemic, right? Is that like that's how we get so many of our ideas is by going out
and doing stuff,
you know, and people watching and, you know, observing and having experiences. Like in order to reflect life as an artist back to you, the audience, we have to live life. And we couldn't live life for 365 days. So it was difficult. But, excuse me again. I burped. Yeah, like, I'm very much the same way. Like, I love going, I try to think about my heroes and who I look up to, and then I just try and, like, surround myself with them. I also just try to get inspiration and talk to other artists. I was lucky enough last year to participate in the Toronto Fringe's tent program where I met a bunch of other artists who are my age, and I really enjoy talking to them because they're in the same position that I'm in. Sometimes when I'm in a bad mood, I don't want to hear from somebody who is successful because fuck you. It must be nice.
Yeah, sure.
Must be nice. Yeah, cool. Great. Whatever, Lena Waithe with your fucking like 200 inked, like exclusive deals with Showtime and Netflix, and you were in a Spielberg movie and da-da-da-da.
Lena Waithe is an inspiration.
Listen, yeah, no, sometimes I need that. Sometimes I need the inspiration that Lena Waithe provides, and sometimes I just need to go to somebody my age who's in my position, in my spot in the world closer.
Yeah, who's tangential to you.
I need my community.
Yeah.
And really, like, I am so proud of the community of artists that I'm starting to immerse myself in and get to know, and who like me back, who are fortunate enough to like me back. Because that in and of itself is enriching.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, talking to other artists is really helpful. Like, and I encourage this, like, anybody. If you're going into nursing, like, have a nursing group and like talk to them all the time when you're just like, hey guys, I just really don't feel like drawing blood today. And someone can be like, I feel you. I was there 2 weeks ago, or I'm there with you today. Like, that kind of camaraderie is priceless.
Community. We're social creatures, human beings.
Or sometimes I'll scroll through Instagram and like see what my other artist friends are doing and be like, wow, there are people who are making art and it's making the world a better place. And I'm going to get up and be a part of that right now. And then I continue on with my day and I feel better.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's getting lost in something, in a piece of media. Sometimes it's getting lost in a show or a movie, or, like, I'll watch one of those like Hollywood roundtables that the Hollywood Reporter does with just everybody who's important ever. And then sometimes it's just talking to my friends.
Exactly.
It's, you just got to go with the flow, feel your instincts, and figure it out. But yeah. It's all about remembering why I'm here. Yeah. You got to remember the motto.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's good. Actually, I have one more fun question to ask you, and we can end the podcast. As a couple of acting nerds, that's really what we are. We really love acting. What is something that inspires you, like a kind of performance or something like that inspires you that you want to do so bad, like at least once in your life? Like, I can give you an example if you want.
Sure. Yeah, you obviously have an answer prepared.
Getting into voice acting. Yeah. Something that I grew up with a lot of shonen anime growing up, like Dragon Ball or One Piece or...
For the folks at home who don't know, what defines shonen anime?
A shonen is a manga written for teenage boys.
Okay.
That's sort of just that's their demographic.
Okay.
Is teenage boys.
Okay.
They typically feature characters with spiky hair, who with big muscles and punch people through buildings.
Super hot girls.
Typically, yeah.
Big old titties.
Big fat mommy milkers. But I grew up with a lot of that growing up. Yeah. And one of the most legendary dubbers and voice actors in the game is Sean Schemmel. He's the voice of Goku.
Okay.
And something that I want to do more than anything else in my life, my career, like I seriously, this is when my career will peak, is to do a genuine anime attack scream.
Okay.
Because that is such a thing. Because like, a lot of people think when you scream, when you act, it's just screaming, but it really isn't. Because if you just scream when you're acting, you're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah.
You gotta find like the power in your diaphragm and really expand your lungs. And these dudes who dubbed Dragon Ball back in like the fucking 90s have been doing it forever, and they're legendary at it. And I really want to do that at least once in my life. I think there is nothing cooler than like. Because obviously you can do one thing, you can like scream Kamehameha in the studio or something. Yeah. But then it gets edited, it gets echoed, it gets added to the piece.
Puts on top of it.
And it's the fucking coolest. And I really want to do that at least once. Like, I have so many clips on YouTube, so many different things that I watch that like fill me with inspiration. They're all different moments. Because like the anime attack scream obviously comes from Japanese voice acting, naturally. But it's amazing how like there are certain voice actors who do dubbing in English who have taken that principle and applied it to English voice acting and have created its own interesting thing. I respect both equally, obviously. But as someone who speaks English, I can't exactly go out and scream Japanese attack screams.
Yeah.
So I really, really would love to do that at least once in my life.
That's dope.
That'd be really... I so many videos on YouTube that I watch over and over again.
That's cool. Wow, so like what's like my acting goal? Wow, I've never thought of that before. That's such a good question. I don't have a good answer right now.
Think about it.
Thank you so much for asking me. No, it's like
you never wanted to be in like an Oscar bait scene where like it's in the rain and you're all wet and shit and you say some like real powerful shit. Yeah. And like that's the scene that wins you an Oscar. Like you don't want to like Viola Davis cry.
Of course I want to do something that gets me an Oscar, but I'm trying to like distill it down into something specific.
Something
like
specific.
you want to do an anime scream one day. That's like very specific. Of course, I would love to win an Oscar.
Yeah,
but
naturally.
I mean, I would love to win an award for my acting. That would be great.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't?
But because I've also just like never won an award really.
You won the Lloyd Coots Acting Award.
Whoops, yeah.
From school. You fucking bitch. Jesus Christ. I never won an award. Oh my god. I never even won a single fucking award.
Damn. Shit. Damn. Call me by my name, why don't you? Son of a bitch. Sorry.
I saw your little narrative there, Sam. I saw your little woe is me narrative.
I wasn't trying. I didn't do it on purpose.
Oh my goodness. That's funny, man.
I'm trying to think of like a the biggest thing that's coming to my mind right now is I would love to do something physical that is well remembered. Like the Leonardo DiCaprio like crawling scene in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Because we poo-pooed physical movement in school so much. We were like, I'm a text-based actor. What is energy through the chest and the diaphragm? I don't know.
And then later found out that all of that is so important.
So important.
Even for voice acting.
Yeah, but it's something that I've noticed now that I have such an appreciation for it. When an actor is physically, like with their body, not so much their voice, but their body, like doing something that effectively communicates a feeling really well, like Leonardo DiCaprio when he's like high on Quaaludes and is like trying to like open up his car door with his leg.
Yeah.
And he's just like so fucking high.
Yeah.
But he's not, he's acting. I would love to execute something like that.
Like a physical manifestation of action, obstacle, and goal.
Yeah.
Because that's all acting is. It's just like relationships between obstacles and goals.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So like Leonardo DiCaprio crawling down the stairs, rolling down them and getting into a car, like opening up a suicide door on his car with his like foot when he like points it up and stuff.
Yeah.
I would love to do something like that. Or I'm trying to think. What are like some of the movies that I've like? Oh, Jennifer Aniston in Cake. I've said before was like, first of all, like give Jennifer Aniston all the things because she's such a good actress, man. Like get out of the Rachel zone and just like appreciate how good of an actress she is. Because she plays somebody who is suffering from chronic pain after a car accident, and like there's just there are these scenes where she's like limping around or she just like grunts when she has to get up from a chair. And I'm like, you're acting right now, but like I'm feeling the pain.
Right, yeah.
Like there was a moment where like I think like a door just like hit her in the shoulder by accident. And she went, ooh. And I was like, like in my bed when I was watching it. I was like, oh my God.
Right.
Like when you watch somebody get hit in the balls and you as a ball haver are like, ooh. It was like that.
Yeah,
but I was like, I could feel like, like the pain in her hips and like the joint pain and
it was
stuff
visceral.
like that. Like it was so visceral.
Yeah.
And I would love to
Invoke
portray that, especially as somebody who poo-pooed physical movement in her school days.
Oh, let's give ourselves some credit. It wasn't presented to us in a way that we gelled with or understood. And then much later in life came to understand what they actually meant. Yeah. And then took that.
I was also just in a mindset in university where I kind of needed to get over myself.
For sure. Everyone has that at some point.
I needed to get over myself.
Eat a slice of humble pie and realize you ain't shit.
I needed to chill out a lot. So it was, two things didn't meet each other halfway.
Sure.
But yeah, no, that would be one of my goals.
Well, that's a great goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something we love. So if you ever in the future see us in something and I do an anime scream and Sam flops down some stairs, we'll have reached this goal as of episode 87 of the Chill Spot podcast.
Yeah. Keep your fingers crossed for us.
That'd be great.
Wish us well.
But speaking of careers, this one is over. No, the podcast is over. Go home.
Thank you so much for listening. If you listened all the way through, even if you listened like part of the way through. Thank you so much. We love you guys.
If you listen part of the way through, they wouldn't be hearing this.
Yeah, but I want to put the energy out there.
Yeah, in case they ever do.
Yeah.
So guys.
Thank you so much for listening to the Chill Spot podcast. You can check us out in many different places outside of this podcast, like our YouTube channel, or you can follow us on Instagram, or you can check us out on Twitter, or you can come and visit us in a stream sometime and listen to us complain about our careers in real time. We stream 3 times a week. Sunday mornings, you get this guy.
Twitch.tv/chillspot.
All on his own, playing Super Mario Brothers, vintage, old school. Get your fucking Lucky Charms and sit down with Cameron.
Ow.
While he plays games. Sorry, I love you so much.
It's okay.
Oh, I forgot you got sunburned
That's
yesterday.
why it hurt.
I apologize.
It's okay.
But yeah, check us out. Keep tuned. Listen, learn, reduce, reuse, recycle.
And don't
forget
to subscribe. Bye.
Bye.